I'm wanting more. So, Captain Miguel Ibarra, all right?
Yes.
With Salvation Army. One thing that I found interesting, I hope I'm not taking this from your presentation, but I was just doing some research, is that the kettles, are you going to talk about the kettles?
Yes.
Okay, then
Skip that.
I'll skip that. Okay.
Thank you so much. Before that I start with this short presentation on behalf of the Salvation Army and the families in need in our communities, thank you so much for allowing us to be here, allowing me to be here this morning. You have no idea how much and how important it is for these families and for the Salvation Army to have funds in the kettles. Everything that we collect during this time of the year, it goes back to the community throughout the year, not only for Christmas season, but throughout the year, we provide with different things to families in need. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here this morning. And the PowerPoint went out of me here. Let me see if I can. There you go. Okay. As you know, the Salvation Army is being out there in different communities around the world. Right now, Salvation Army is in 132 countries, if I'm not mistaken. Because every time it changes, it constantly changes. We are heading over to, in Africa, there's popping up corps, units, different places where people is joining the Salvation Army and they requesting help and according to their needs. So we send people, officers, to serve in the community, but you don't want to hear what is going on around the world. You probably want to hear what is going on in this community, right?
Yes.
So one of the best ways to help in our communities, as you said, this graphic here, ringing bells outside the stores. You probably saw some videos on online from different places, California, Chicago, New York, big cities where young people come and jump up and start dancing and doing some funny things, even wearing costumes, promoting different things as they do this kind of service in the community. You know, another thing that we do is we invite organizations, clubs, and different entities to promote themselves. As I don't know if I mentioned it before, but Kiwanis Club is been all over. Since I joined Kiwanis Club in Salem, Oregon, I've been jumping here and there in different states. I was in Walla Walla, Washington, as a member of Kiwanis Club, New Mexico, California, Oregon, and Salem. And this is one of the amazing organization, clubs that always seeking to help families, seeking to serve the community. And I'm really thankful for that. And I appreciate all you do, and I'm glad to be a member of the Kiwanis too. So this is one of the venues that we can serve and promote Kiwanis Club, but also help families in need in our community. The money that we raise in our kettles during this campaign, it goes directly back to the programs in your community. Sometimes people have the misunderstanding that the money or the envelopes that people receive in our communities, they have a different address. Yes, we have our central over in California. We belong to our Western Territory. Our division, territory headquarters is in LA, in Rancho Palos Verdes. And our divisional headquarters here for this division is in Portland, Oregon. So when you see the envelope and with a different address, you may think, oh no, I don't want to send the money to California, or I don't want to send the money to Portland, Oregon. I want the money to stay here for a community. And the money stays here. It's only that we send the money over there and they distribute it to all the corps, all the units that the Salvation Army is posted or is being inside. So please Don't misunderstand that. And this year is the need is more significant as every year. You know, I wish that I can tell you, come and tell you, you know, thank God and thank all of you, because this year is even better than the last year. But unfortunately, you know, our country is facing a very difficult times, and financially is the worst ever. So imagine people outside on the streets, homeless, people who lose their employee, people who are losing their houses, people who are losing their belongings. So all of these people comes seeking around in our community for help, for assistance. The Salvation Army provides assistance with gas, electricity, water bills, rent bills, and many other things that we provide. Besides the programs that we run in our facilities, we're looking to assist young students after-school programs. We're looking to provide, equip us with at least 10 computers for kids who are, you know, they don't have this kind of equipment at home. They don't have the ability to, the possibility to buy a computer, to have a computer at home. And we are going to invite these people to come into our facility so they can spend the afternoon, 1 hour or two, to study their after-school homework and do their homework in our facilities. So these are the different ways that we help the families in need, and it's a great way to help one another in our community. If you don't want to see homeless, if you don't want to see this starving people in our community, you know, struggling with so many different things, help us. And think about it. You know better than me. I'm new here in town. So you probably know what is the real need in our community. Kiwanis Club has been one of the great assets for the Salvation Army, partnering with us, helping our Salvation Army, partnering with us as we ring the bells at the stores, and it's a great way to serve in our community. In New Mexico, I had the privilege to be part of the Kiwanis Club. Kiwanis Club helped us to build up a playground behind our building. They help us to create and bring up events for people in need, and I'm so thankful for what they did over there. Their image, the reputation of the Kiwanis Club as well as the Salvation Army partnering together brings us on high with the community. And the community was so thankful for what we did over there. And again, it was not only the Salvation Army, but organizations, clubs like Kiwanis Club is one of the best for Salvation Army. We're always seeking for help, and you are always open to help, and that's what I'm so thankful for. Supporting and partnering opportunities to give back. You know, this is a way to give back, building healthy relationships. As you ring the bells outside, you meet new people. You greet people who you may don't know, and maybe they are interested to join the club. You know, that's a great venue to invite people in the community, to invite them to become a member in our clubs. You know, this is a great opportunity. Making changes in our city and promoting Kiwanis Club. Teaching our parents, you know, children, sometimes they are just begging here and there, walking along the streets, looking for something to do. And that's when sometimes they hang with the wrong crowd, wrong people, and they end up being in trouble. So we need to take care for one another, to think about others, to share the blessings, to do something for our city, to make Bend and Redmond, La Pine, Madras, Prineville, in the little towns in our surrounding, because these are the towns that Salvation Army provides and helps. Yes, our buildings are in Bend, but there's people from all over of these little towns who come and ask for assistance. They keep us spinning, running back and forth here and there. This is so much work for my wife and I, and a few bunch of volunteers that we have in our pantry. You know, we collect food from Neighbor Impact here in Redmond, and we also collect donations from a local store in Bend. I forgot the name, but yeah, Trading Joe's. Trading Joe's, they provide us with lots of food, and everything that we got in our pantry is free for the community. It's free for those who needs food. There are donors in the community who come and donate clothes, donate shoes, donate furniture sometime, and we just give it back to the community. Some other places, the Salvation Army has a thrift store. We don't have a thrift store here, and we don't want to keep that stuff in our building. We just give it back to the community. We are not like I mean, I don't want to talk about any other organization, but Goodwill, you know, they resell their donations. Some other organizations, they resell their donations, and we don't, because we know how great is the need up there, and we just give it to the community. So this is another way to ring the bell virtually. We have a QR code in our kettles, stands, and one of the ways that people can give back to the community or to Salvation Army is just put give donations through the QR code. And also by sharing with friends, sharing with family members, other different clubs, organizations, businesses. One of the things that we invite to do to businesses is if they wanted to adopt the kettle for a day, we can put their sign in our kettle stand so that they can advertise their business. They can advertise their organization of the club, as you know, Kiwanis Club. We can put the sign of Kiwanis Club saying, okay, you know, just by saying Kiwanis, people know that Kiwanis is volunteering and participating in the good cause to give back to families in need in our community. Peer-to-peer, you know, this is something that came up last year or a couple of years ago. Just inviting to friends, inviting to one another to just challenging. Okay, I'm ringing the bell over here at Walmart. I want to challenge you to do the same thing. Or I'm putting $1 in the kettle. I want to challenge you to invite somebody else and put the money on the kettle. So this is one of the other ways that we can volunteer. And people don't understand how great it is for those families in need in our community just to wear an apron, because their hope is sometimes in these people. And when you ring the bells outside at the stores or inside, however, you have some people here and there who says, hey, thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you for ringing the bell. Thank you for doing this. And people come and appreciate you. Sometimes people come and tell you stories. Sometimes people come and say, hey, I'm in need. How can I get some information? How can I get to the Salvation Army or your club? You know, and that's a great way to engage with people, to share, to give back. Those are the best ways that we can. And I'm really thankful for those who are brave and courageous to ring the bell, as you already signed to ring the bells, because it's not easy. It's hard. Sometimes you're going to face with difficult situations with people who are, as long as they're walking into the store, they just saw they see the kettle sign, they just walk away in the different direction. They don't want to have anything to do with that. And I totally understand, because people, not everyone agrees with what we do. You know, there probably has bad experiences or difficult situations that, you know, it's impossible for the Salvation Army to please every single one who comes into our building. We have policies and regulations. Our divisional headquarters ask us to request things from people in need. It is not for the family just to come and say, hey, I need this and I need that. No, we need to find some information from you. Are you truly asking because you need it or because you would just want to take advantage of the programs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the things that we face. Barb, you were going to say something?
No, I was just,
Okay.
you know, acknowledging.
Yes. So, you know, people who work aprons and ring bells outside the store, especially in this area of the country or this part of the country, is very difficult because you are challenging the weather. It's very cold right now, and it's going to turn up even colder in the next couple of days. So as I was talking with Dan, I told him, you know, feel free to get inside of the store. And the store managers, I already approached them and I talked to them and said, hey, we need your help. You know, as you help us, you help others in the community. So feel free, and as long as we are gentle and quietly just greeting people, inviting to put money in the kettle, or just greeting them, you know, hey, welcome to Walmart, have a nice day. Whatever it comes to your mind, you know, just be nice and polite and be presentable. Just by standing there. Yes, sir.
I didn't mean to stop you, but
No, you're fine. You're fine.
let me just share with you a story which is probably not at all unusual, but it comes from my experience working with y'all and the kettles back in Michigan. Yeah, you do get people that'll turn and run the other way, or treat you maybe not in the best way. But I had one instance, it was a couple of years ago now, of a family, a mother and their 2 children that came up to get money. So they gave money, and I said, well, thank you, and we exchanged some pleasantries, and then they went away. And they came back about 20 minutes later, and there were 2 people, myself and someone else there. They had Starbucks for us, they had hand warmers for us, they got gloves that they bought for us, and it was all, I think, a teachable moment for the mom as far as understanding how important that kind of activity is. So, I keep that in mind all the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah. It is amazing how it is with families who come into our facility. I'll give you the time. When they come, sometimes they come and demand. Sometimes they come and yell at us. And as you may say, well, there's people who are struggling. There's people who are suffering, but it's not my fault. They probably did it, and they bring this into their life because of, the bad administration or whatever they face. But in my case, my wife and I, we've been facing difficulties with people who threaten us, and yell at us, and even throw rocks to me one time, shouting bad words to me, and it says, how can they do that? They don't even know me. I don't know them. I'm not the one. I'm not guilty for what is happening in their lives. But even with that, I have to be there and respond in a nice way and be nice and polite and just try to help these families, because when they come into our facilities, they just wait until the last minute. They let their bills accumulate from month after month after month, and just waiting and hoping that someone can help them. And when they don't find any help, they just come into our buildings asking and demanding and yelling at us. You have to help me because this is what you do in the community. So bring me, take me out of this. And then whatever, it's very hard. It's very hard. But they don't know what is behind the scenes. They don't know all the work that we do, and they don't know what's going on with the Salvation Army. Right now, if you hear or see the news on Channel 21, we did a little interview there, just asking for help with the kettles. Redmond and Ben, we're supposed to put the kettles in La Pine too. There's no kettles in La Pine, because my wife and I, we decided that when it's a fundraising, and my experience, and I'm going to share this with you in a moment, fundraising is a fundraising. If we pay to people to ring bells, sometimes people who comes to ring bells, they don't have the best reputation, and we have to do a lot of paperwork in order to hire them, and it takes a lot of time And it is easier for us to seek out for volunteers in the community with different organizations, and this is what we're going to practice this, and this is what we're going to do in the next coming years, because when we are engaged with one another, let people know that this is your community, this is my community. If I really care for my community, I want to give something back. I want to give something back to people, for the people who are struggling and have difficulties at the moment, right? Sir?
Just another positive story. I remember ringing the bells over the kettle, and I'd see people with nice clothes and good hats and whatever, you know, dressed for the weather, waltz by me, ignoring me as best they could. Occasionally people would say, well, I'll catch you on the way back. Well, they didn't come back.
Right.
Went out the other door. But one man came up, and he was kind of shabby. He looked like, you know, he had a sweatshirt on, and it wasn't sweatshirt weather anymore, and so on. And he came up and handed me a 20 to put in the kettle. And my eyes must have widened at least, or something, because he could tell I was surprised. He said the Salvation Army was there for me when I needed them. Quick question. In Gresham, I think it was, the Salvation Army there did a music program, an after-school, you know, teach kids how to play instruments or so.
Yes, sir.
Is that any part of your charge?
It's not at the moment. We are not gifted in music.
Okay.
We don't have the skills. The previous officers, he was kind of a musician. He was teaching kids.
Okay.
But it's not impossible. One of the
Yeah.
things that we are looking for is to reach out to schools, high schools. They have mentors, they have teachers who can probably come and volunteer with the Salvation Army so they can teach kids in our neighborhoods voluntarily without charging. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of families who need these kind of programs in our community. You know, if you look into newspaper or any other media, on the media, a teacher, a musician, they charge you probably $50 an hour.
Yes.
And we are going to be looking for help in that sense with the schools or different organizations that, you know, we have all kind of musicians here in town. They can probably dedicate 1 hour to their children for free. You know, that's another way. And we have the instruments. We have instruments. We have guitars. We have different instruments that they can use, a keyboard, a piano, things like that.
Great.
It is better for families who have these kind of kids just having in our facility instead of having them wandering around in the neighborhood without doing anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, so you guys are our heroes because you represent not only, yes sir.
I know this might be a bit of a touchy subject, but what is the Salvation Army's attitude towards LGBTQ people?
Okay, good question. And I'm not the
What was the question?
What are the Army's attitudes towards LGBTQ people?
Anyone is familiar with that? Okay. Yes, as I mentioned before, you know, it's not easy for the Salvation Army as in any other organizations because there's always going to be people who goes against you or the organizations because of the difficulties that they encounter when they come into our facilities to ask for assistance. And once the assistance is being denied because we found something in the person or a family, they, you know, unfortunately, they walk away angry. They got mad at us, and they start spreading spreading out what happens to them, and they share with one another, and it creates a bad reputation in our communities. With this group, Salvation Army doesn't discriminate anyone. We help. We seek for help and assistance with every single one. You know, we have programs in Las Vegas, Nevada, where these kind of people is being assisted, and guiding and providing anything that they need. We have buildings, not only with these groups, but any other groups. So we have buildings or dedicated to elders who they just pay like $120 for their little apartment, all furniture and everything provided for them, meals and everything. As women who face sexual abuse, domestic violence, and so many other things. So we don't discriminate any groups like these kind of groups, LGBT, right?
Yeah, the reason why I asked, we have one member of our club that refuses to participate because she felt she was discriminated against.
Yes, and I think I met.
I didn't want to mention her name, but.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry. When the first time I reached out to the club, I saw this video, and I totally respect her position. And one of the things that I focusing on is on the person and not on the thing that they do. You know, I have a biblical basis, and as I look into the Bible says that God loves every single one. He loves his creation. He loves every human being, but He doesn't love what people does. And we look and seek to restore. And if that doesn't happen, it is okay with us. You know, it is their lives, and I'm not gonna get involved in whatever they are facing or they are engaged. And we totally respect that. At least on my position, I don't disagree with their groups or anything like that. I don't know if that answered your question, and I don't know if I put myself in trouble.
No.